Hi, I'm Kristen Glover, Miss Arkansas, and a recent college graduate in chemistry. But today I'm here to talk about the chemistry it takes to be the next Miss America. You see, there are many elements that go into the character behind the crown. I believe that Miss America should be transparent and real in every circumstance. I also believe that Miss America should be glamorous and ready to walk the red carpet at any moment. Next, I believe that Miss America should be cool under pressure and flexible in any circumstance. And finally, I believe that Miss America should be passionate. She should be passionate about her personal platform and serving as the National Ambassador for Children's Miracle Network. So don't you want to know who has the chemistry to be the next Miss America? Hi, I'm Miss Arkansas, Kristen Glover, and be sure to watch me on the 2012 Miss America pageant from Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino, live on January 14th from 9 to 11 on ABC. You just saw a video that I created in promotion of the Miss America pageant. I competed in Miss America in January against 52 accomplished, talented young women. These women represented all 50 states, including Washington, D.C., the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago if I had ever dreamed of being on the Miss America stage, I probably would have told you that it wasn't in my wildest dreams. And the reason why is because I'm from Stuttgart, Arkansas, a small town in southeast Arkansas where I grew up only knowing about rice and duck hunting. Because my father worked in the rice industry, I had rice with every meal. And it wasn't until I graduated from Stuttgart High School in 2007, I then moved to Ouachita Baptist University and started college in the fall of 2007. Then I learned that it wasn't quite normal to eat rice with every meal. But I also learned a lot more at college. I decided to major in chemistry, I minored in biology, and I absolutely loved my time spent here in the science lab. I spent lots of time learning how to blow up things, how to set things on fire, and one time I accidentally spilled acid on my thumb and it turned yellow for an entire week. And while I was at Ouachita, I was really challenged outside of my comfort zone. I loved learning the concepts of chemistry and decided that I wanted to pursue a career in the science and medical field. I then decided I would apply for pharmacy school, and I got accepted. I got accepted to UAMS in Little Rock and had plans to go in the fall of 2011. When I graduated from Ouachita in May of 2011, I then signed up to compete at the Miss Arkansas pageant and ended up winning the Miss Arkansas pageant in July. And so since July, I have changed plans just for this year. I've postponed pharmacy school just for this 1 year, and I've started touring the state of Arkansas. And as I tour, I think it's the greatest honor to represent this state as Miss Arkansas while always speaking on a platform that is so personally important to me and what I believe in. And that platform is entitled Second Chances Through Mentoring. So every time I speak in schools, every time I travel to nonprofit organizations or travel across the state of Arkansas, I always speak on this platform. And the reason why is because I believe our generation grows up making mistakes. It's just part of learning. It's just part of growing. And I think that it's okay not to be perfect the first time around. And I advocate for second chances for my generation and for your generation, so that you can learn from the mistakes you've made and become better in the long run. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. When I started competing in the Miss Arkansas pageant, it wasn't that easy of a road. I wasn't always the best the first time around. I wasn't that successful the first time I stepped on stage. In fact, when I went to the Miss Arkansas pageant for the first time, I never once heard my name called for an award. The second year, I decided I was going to go back and I was going to make top 10. I just knew I was going to make the top 10, and it didn't really happen because I entered 3 preliminary pageants and I lost 3 preliminary pageants in a row, and I didn't even qualify for Miss Arkansas the next year. The following year, in 2010, I competed in 3 more preliminary pageants, kind of picking up the broken pieces from the year before, and I lost 3 more preliminary pageants. And it wasn't until the next pageant, the 7th pageant over 2 years, that I finally won a preliminary pageant and finally was given the opportunity to return to the Miss Arkansas pageant and compete on the state level. And at first, I thought it was such a failure to enter all of these pageants and lose all of these pageants time and time again. I thought that I was failing because I wasn't living up to my own expectations. But now that I look back at that experience, I realized that through each preliminary pageant, I was learning more and more about myself. I was gaining strength. I was learning how to hone in on my skills and talents. And because of all of that practice, I was truly prepared for the Miss Arkansas pageant in 2010. So I entered the pageant, and that year I actually made the top 5. I think I surprised a lot of people, but it was an incredible experience. And the next year I was hooked. So I came back in 2011 as Miss Ouachita Baptist University and actually won the whole Miss Arkansas pageant, including interview and swimsuit, and then I won a preliminary award for evening gown. And I was thrilled because I had been down a road of so many setbacks, and I fought through those setbacks and I persevered so that I could receive my ultimate goal and my ultimate dream. And I promise you that ultimate goal and ultimate dream is even sweeter because of the fight that I had to give to take it. And I can also say that school wasn't necessarily the easiest for me either. I remember that when I came to Ouachita Baptist University and decided to major in chemistry, I signed up for general chemistry. And that's your first class as a freshman. Something I thought I was going to be good at, but I actually made a 69% on my first test, which was my first D in my entire life. I left the classroom. I called my parents and cried on the phone because I had made the first D of my life, and it was in the class that I planned on majoring in. And so my parents talked me out of it, or talked me through the whole situation and encouraged me just to work harder, to study harder, to learn what kind of techniques will benefit me best in studying. And I really had to fight to bring that D that I started with up all the way to an A. And I was very proud of the A that I had accomplished by the end of the semester. And I can honestly say that my struggle didn't end there. When I was a junior, I started to study physical chemistry. And physical chemistry is actually the science that makes sense of chemistry, calculus, and physics all at once. And as you can imagine, it's a very, very difficult course. And so I made a D on my first test, and I never really improved in that class. I made C's and D's on all tests, but I worked very hard on my homework assignments and my projects to bring my grade up to a B in the class overall, and I was very proud of that B. I also remember making a mistake here in the lab. I was a senior, and I knew, by your senior year, you're supposed to know the protocol of the lab, and I just flat out made a mistake. I was in here on a Friday afternoon, and I was the last person to leave the lab, and I was responsible for turning off the instrument. Well, I don't know what happened, but I just forgot to turn off the instrument. Turned the lights off, shut the door, locked the door, and it wasn't until Monday morning when I walked into class, I sat down, and the professor told me that I needed to go meet with another professor in his office. And at that time, I started thinking about what it was that he wanted to talk to me about. And all of a sudden, my stomach just fell to the floor, and it curled in all these knots because I was so anxious. I realized that I had forgotten to turn off the instrument. And when you forget to turn off the instrument, then it runs out of water, and the battery dies down, and the instrument can seriously blow up. And I was so nervous going into his office, and I remember sitting down and I apologized 1,000 times, and he was so mad at me because this instrument cost thousands of dollars. And he was so mad that he barely even said a word. But he listened to my apology, and I worked very hard to gain a good reputation with him. And thankfully, they let me graduate and move on and finish the class. I was afraid they were going to keep that from me, but they let me move on. They let me graduate, and now I'm headed to pharmacy school. But I say all of that because I don't want you guys to set an expectation of perfection. I want you to set goals, to work hard to achieve the dreams and desires that you have. But don't set perfection as your expectation. And as I promote second chances, as I always advocate second chances, I want you to realize that not always do things come easy the first time around. A lot of you are here today because you're thinking about entering the medical field, just like me. But I want you to realize that it's probably going to be a challenge, and you're probably going to have to persist through many obstacles in your path. But you can do it. You can totally do it, and I promise you that when you work hard at school, when you work hard to build the skills and strengths that you have, your goal and the dreams that you accomplish are going to be even sweeter in time. And I want to leave you with one last quote, a quote that I love to live by. Eleanor Roosevelt said that the future belongs to the people who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I hope that you guys believe in the beauty of your dreams, because no matter what setbacks you may have, no matter what obstacles you may have to overcome, no matter if it's hard or difficult the first or second time around, I encourage you to persist through and believe in the beauty of your dreams. Best of luck to you. Thank you for letting me be a part of the Girls of Promise Conference.